Good morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful, maybe a little smoky, but beautiful Boise, Idaho. This morning on keyboards, we have our musical leader, our boss, our jefe, Rex Miller. And holding our feet to the fire is the wonderful Ted McClurge on bass. And he pounds that kit like nobody's business. My favorite caveman and yours, Phil Bowdem.
We got Becky Borzon up there singing for us today. Please give her a big hand.
Thank you. I was blue, just as blue as I could be. Every day was a cloudy day for me. Then the spirit came knocking at my door. Skies were gray, but they're not gray anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, blue skies smiling at me. Yeah, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song. There's nothing but bluebirds all day long. I never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by. When you feel love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. There's nothing but blue skies from now on. Ted McClurge on the bass. Rex Miller on the keyboard. Phil Bowden on the drums. Ain't those boys great? Yeah. Blue skies smiling at me. There's nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song. There's nothing but bluebirds all day long. I never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by. When you feel love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. There's nothing but blue skies from now on. Oh, got nothing but blue skies from now on. It's the truth, we've only got blue skies from now on. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Come on up. Let's just take a few minutes just to center ourselves now. Rex, you can play a little bit. If you're comfortable closing your eyes with me. And just feel your body right there in the seat, right where it is. Consciously sense your body right where it is. Breathe it in. And now allow yourself to accept that you are a spiritual being in this human body. And let all sense of self go in this moment. Breathing in. Moving into that sacred, silent space where we listen to the still, small voice within calling to us. Come higher, come higher, come higher. Allow yourself to float in the divine. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a cleansing breath in. Take a third cleansing breath in and release. As we prepare ourselves, our hearts, our consciousness for the spiritual practices brought forth this morning by our beloved board member, Mary Borg.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living. It is my honor today to introduce Allison Harris, who will light the world religions candles from the Christ candle. In religious science, we perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people in all faiths come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. In lighting these candles, we honor the one family of humanity made up of over 4,000 religions and spiritual traditions throughout the world. We light the first candle for the Brazilian Yanomamo that recognizes every person, animal, plant, stone, mountain, and river. Everything is abundantly imbued with spirit. We light the second candle to honor Navajo spirituality, which teaches us to walk in harmony with all of life. Navajo teachings of attunement, atonement, and return to balance lead to the art of living in beauty. We light the third candle for Australian Aboriginal spirituality, who spend much of their lives in a state called the dream time, a deep meditative realization of the universal nature of spirit. In honor of Maui recovering, we light the fourth candle for the ancient Hawaiian and Polynesian spirituality, knowing that each of us express the breath of God in every breath we breathe. God is in us and as us and through us. The fifth and final candle honors New Thought, which is rooted in the ancient spiritual awareness that God is all there is. God is love, one spirit, one harmony, one peace, and one love. Let us quiet our minds and our hearts to the spiritual message being sung by Becky Borazon.
speak the mind that in love we know. Take me to your holy place. Breathe on me. Breathe on me. Breathe on me. Breathe on me.
Please join me in prayer. If you're comfortable, close your eyes or just lower your gaze. Knowing that right where we are right now is holy. This place in which we have congregated, this place where we've come together in community, it is all holy. And in this place, I recognize that one power and one presence, that divine spark of life that is within me, that is within each one of us, wherever we are. We can never not be without that divine spark. And so it is from this place of knowing, this place of joy, that I give thanks for this service today. I give thanks for all of the volunteers that have come together to make it possible. Our musicians, our greeters, our beautiful people that have stepped in to do whatever needs to be done. And I especially say thank you and say this prayer for our beloved Reverend Jackie Holland, as she steps aside and allows Spirit to come through her, giving us the message that we have each come here to hear today, knowing that all is well, all is good, and all is God. So I just release it. We release it into the universe, into the law, and we let it go and let God do God's work. And together we say, Namaste, Om, Shanti, Ashe, Amen, Aho, and so it is. And so let's welcome Becky.
Where's your wings, little angel? My sweet baby child. And how you gonna live in a world gone wild? Well, you better be smart, you better be strong. You ain't gonna be here long. I don't care if you're rich, never had a dime. This whole life is an uphill climb, and I ain't got time. I ain't got time. Yeah, I ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. Listen to me, we ain't got time for hate. That's right. People lost and lonely, still looking for a home. They call us names that still hurt us a lot more than stones. But it's the law of the jungle, it's the law of the land. We hold each other's hearts in the palm of our hands, and we ain't got time. We ain't got time. No, we ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. We ain't
Let's know we don't have time for hate, do we? We don't have time for hate. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, hello. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. Those who are with us online, we are so delighted that you are with us. Whatever time you're watching this, we don't have time for hate. And that's what this is about. Thank you so much for those of you who are in the sanctuary. By the way, today is Allison's birthday, our candle lighter. Yeah. Lighting candles of joy on her appearance day here on planet Earth. Good morning. For the last 2 weeks, we have been talking about we've been talking about finding peace in a world of conflict. We've been talking about finding peace in a world of conflict. This morning we're going to talk about, our final week is talking about speaking peace. When we look at the level of conflict and violence that exist in our world, the wars, the bombings, the terrorisms, the mass shootings, the hate speeches that are going on, the murders, the rapes, the racial tension, the abuse and hatred, aren't you glad you came to church today? Okay, I'm just bringing that up. It's easy, I know, when we think about all of these things, to be pessimistic about what's going on in our world. We're pessimistic about whether we'll ever achieve peace. Pessimistic about whether we'll ever be able to move beyond the name-calling, the mudslinging, the pain that we are finding ourselves in. And the rhetoric just keeps heating up. It's getting hotter and hotter. But yet, I don't know how you're feeling, but this last couple of weeks, I have felt the dawn of some hope. And I don't know whether it's because we're talking about it, because you know what we talk about, we bring to ourselves. You all know that. But I really, truly have been feeling like, wow, there's some amazing hope and joy and laughter and fun on the horizon. So it can feel a bit hopeless, I know, when we think about living in complete harmony without conflict. If I were to say it to you right now, what are the possibilities that you believe that we could live in this world without conflict, without fighting, without hatred? How many of you would say, yeah, I believe that, Reverend Jackie, right now? No, most of us do not. Most of us, even though we're all good religious scientists, we're good spiritual beings, somehow we have lost the ability to see possibility. We've lost the ability to see possibility. We can live in a world without conflict and without hate. We wonder, what can we as individuals do to make a difference in times like this, to have more peace in the world? I have, for the last several weeks, made it my goal in life to make people smile at me. Everywhere I go. How are you? How are you? Hi. Now, I'm going to tell you a story without using the words, but I was in a store the other day, a store, and Ross for Dress for Less, by the way, was the store. Not that I'm giving them any publicity, but I was just there, and I was walking past the shoe rack. I'm not looking for shoes. I got more shoes than Marcos's wife used to have, but I'm just telling you that I was walking past the shoes, and there was a pair of tennis shoes. Is that what you call them? Sports shoes. On the thing, and there was a woman standing beside me. She was younger than me. She was probably maybe 20 years younger than me, and so I walked over to the shoes because I was so drawn to them. They were purple, and I was drawn to them, and I took them down, and she was standing here, and I looked at her, and I said, oh, these are Kamala Harris shoes. That's what I said, because, they look like the ones she wears when she's, running around. And the woman looked at me, and this is a true story, and so, just so that YouTube doesn't shut us off, I won't say the word. But this woman stood, and she looked at me, and she went, S blank 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 T. S exclamation point. I'm not sure who was the S blank 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 T. I don't know if it was me or Kamala. I'm not sure which one she was referring to. And really, I stood in shock in the store, wondering, what have we gotten to? I mean, did I insult you when I said that to you, ma'am? I mean, I just was, you know me, I'll talk to anybody that'll talk back to me. But the thing was, it really, and then I made it my goal to make that woman smile at me, and I followed her around like a stalker. And and I really wanted to have a little conversation with her. I really thought that I might just go up to her and say, hey, ma'am, you know, like, could we have an open communication? I'm wondering what I did. But no, she wasn't open to that. I mean, you could tell, so I quit stalking and went to Winco. I'm just saying, we're in our final week of the series, Peace in a World of Conflict. And we've been mapping out every single week what we can do to bring peace to our world. The first week, we talked about changing our consciousness from feeling that everything is against us and that the truth is that we live in a universe that is for us, that is supportive. Now, I didn't really feel that way when the woman used the 4-letter word at me, that the universe was for me, but really, I will tell you the good thing that happened from that encounter with this woman. I did not feel anger. I felt confusion, I felt bewilderment, and then I moved to compassion. That was why it had to happen. Because then one time, some days and years in my life, I would have given her tit for tat, but the point was, I moved to compassion. And I moved to a place of inquiry, questioning. What is it we can do as people to, she can think anything she wants to, but perhaps to have less conflict. What is it that I could have done in that moment besides stalk her around Ross Dress for Less? So we have to change our consciousness. We talked the first week about believing that no one and no thing is against us. The truth is that we were created in the image and the likeness of God itself. God is good. We are good. All human beings are good, trying to find their way through their own darkness. And when we can understand that, when we can believe with absolute faith and conviction that we live in a world that wants to support and lift each other, even when we disagree with each other. So we talked about that the first week. We talked about how everything was working for our good. We talked about adopting the beautiful and spiritual path that Jesus laid out for cultivating peace. We talked about this last week. Love your enemies, he said. Embrace the difficult people and situations in your life as a valuable part of your journey to wholeness and healing and oneness. He said, love your enemies. Bless and call for the good in every situation. And claim for yourself and all people that God means everything for good in your life. The world means it for bad, but God meant it for good. We read in the Christian Bible. We asked ourselves last week to consider how we could do good for others and to pray for the well-being of yourself and everybody in the world. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said this about our lives. He said, our lives will never get any higher or better than the quality of thought that we hold about other people. I want you to hear that again. Our life will never get any better or higher than the quality of thoughts that we hold about other people. Now, I could be holding a lot of thoughts about that woman, couldn't I? No. Our lives will never be any better until we can move to compassion and acceptance and oneness. And I know how hard this is, particularly during election year when I have my opinions, you have your opinions, they have their opinions, they've got their opinions. But surely there is common ground for all of us, even in our disagreements, our vehement disagreements. And anybody who spent time in my presence for more than an hour knows I feel very strongly about certain things. doesn't mean that I dislike or totally and completely disagree with the other perspective. This is what it will never, our life will never be any higher or better than the quality of the thoughts that we are holding about other people. Because why? We are mirrors for each other. Now, I'm still working on that mirror in Ross, okay? And when I get that figured out, I will explain it to you maybe. Whatever we habitually think about others is what we create for ourselves in our own lives. I've had a lot of vehement, venomous thoughts about certain people in the political scene. And that individual doesn't care at all about what I think. But the poison that I am releasing into my own system is not worth it. And it's not worth it for you either. So whatever we know how this works. Whatever we send out, it'll come back to us. That's called the law of cause and effect. So what we need to do in difficult situations, we talked about this last week, is we need to pray for peace. We need to pray for happiness and health and wholeness for everyone. For everyone. But now here's what we do, because we know better. I just know that she will see the light as long as it's the same light I see. Perhaps our prayer can be, may we all see each other's light and honor and respect the light. Because, it occurs to me that as strongly as I feel about something, Rex may feel just as strongly about the opposite. And who am I to judge his strength of thought over my strength of thought? This is what I'm entreating all of us to do in the next few months. Be open and receptive. Know who you are and what you are. But remember, conflict gets us nowhere. These spiritual practices may be simple, but I am telling you, they are not easy. We live in a world of conflict that has the appearance of hatred, violence, and ugliness. But by being ugly and resisting and throwing trash against the other side, it's just bringing more on us. So today we're talking about loving each other, about showing up in a greater way to peace, showing up in a greater way to have peace in every situation that you're facing in your family, in your community, in your world. How can we show up? This sounds like it's a tall order, doesn't it? But there is a path to peace. It's how Jesus, the master teacher, lived. It's how great leaders like Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, and so many more that we could name. It's the path that they chose. Now, we are not going to be able to walk their path, but we can at least emulate and understand why they walk the path they walk. And perhaps that can help us somewhat. So this week we're looking at another way that we can bring peace to our world, peace to the world of conflict, and that's to speak peace. Now, because I'm in a religious science church, and if you're new to religious science, you may not know the name of Marshall Rosenberg. Many of you know Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. No one in this place is nodding their head, only a few. Well, I was blessed to study with Dr. Rosenberg. He's an American psychologist who developed a communications process called nonviolent communication. It's been taught in classrooms, it's been taught in the military, it's been taught in businesses. Marshall, I'm telling you, amazing work. We used it as a curriculum for our children when I was running the youth church down at Agape. It is amazing. It helps people in businesses and in life solve conflicts and differences peacefully. And it is based on the very same religious science principle, spiritual principle that says our words are something that we all have control over. And our words are powerful. That's the basis for this teaching. We have control over our words. We may think we don't, like that woman who said that word to me. Let me tell you, my first reaction was to go, but I didn't, mostly because I had been writing this talk. It was in my mind. Our words, we have control. In Proverbs, in Christian Bible, Proverbs 18:21 says, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your words, what you speak, and even not even what you're speaking, but what is behind those words that you are speaking can bring life abundant or death. It can bring heaven or hell. It can bring health or illness. It can bring happiness or pain by the words that you use. We can use our words to either tear down or build ourselves up. And not only ourselves, but other people as well. We can use our words to bring love and healing and connection and compassion, or we can use our words to bring about harm and violence and hate. But we don't have time for hate. We don't have time for hate. I love that song. Thank you. Becky always chooses the perfect song, and she does not know what I'm talking about. It's just God. It's a God thing. When most of us are asked to think about words of violence, we think about phrases like, I hate you, I'm going to kill you, or I'll beat you within an inch of your life. I'm channeling my mother there. Or I'm gonna get back at you for this. Or this means war. We're done. Those are the obvious words of violence. But Rosenberg says that many of us speak words we don't even realize are violence. He says it's violent any time we make somebody feel like they're doing something wrong, or we try to belittle or to make them feel guilty or to shame them or to intimidate them. That's violence. It's not words like I hate you. It's words like, you're not very smart, or why would you think that? Sometimes words of violence are more about a tone of voice. We all have people that we know I had a grandmother, my grandmother Reimer. My grandmother Reimer, good Southern woman that she was, could curse you with words of sugar. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of one right now, but she would say something to you and you would think, and then when you turned and walked away, you went, wait a minute. Kind of like the Southern bless your heart that has gotten so, overstated, which is not true. Sometimes we say bless your heart and we mean it. Again, it's the tone. So violence is not just the words. It's not just the words of hate or words of violence. It's the words of intimidation, of shame, of belittling. It's the words of control and manipulation. These are words of violence, according to Marshall. And I believe it's so true. These are words of violence that create hurt and harm. And we don't want to do that in our world anymore. The words we speak in our relationships at home, in work, or in our neighborhoods can have a huge impact on whether we're creating peace or we're creating more conflict. And we have an opportunity now in the next 85 days to live what we're talking about now. In every conflict, in every discussion, how can I bring love? How can I bring peace here? How can I go higher here while still stating my opinion on something? How many of us have been in conversations with the other person who wasn't getting or agreeing with what we were trying to say, so we thought it was a good strategy to raise our voice and to use more aggressive language? That's me. That's what I do. I know it. I see myself in violent words. I see the violence in words and manipulation and control. We all can see it. Think back when that happened to you. You raised your voice. You used more assertive words. I don't want to say violent because you good people don't use violent words, but even assertive words are violent. So think back on that situation. Did it make it better? Heck no, it did not. Have you ever been in a situation when you were actually so frustrated with somebody that disagreed with you that you started yelling at them, calling them names, or insulting them? Okay, I do that mostly to the television, in the anonymity of my living room. I try not to do it publicly because, somebody might have a baseball bat, but I'm just saying. We do that. And did that help the situation? Does it change the situation at all when I'm yelling at the television? No, but I tell you what it's doing. It's harming me. Because you see, words of violence aimed at the other person bounce off that other person and come back and do violence to ourselves. We do violence to ourselves. Always afterwards, we feel foolish, we feel silly, we regret the things that we've said. Last week, I talked about the two basic needs that drive all human beings. The first is our need for self-preservation and safety. We are driven to know that all our basic needs will be met. One of my big basic needs that had to be met this week was air conditioning. Most of you think of it as food and water, rest and shelter. In my opinion, this week it was air conditioning, but we all have our basic needs and we all know what they are. So we need to know that we're safe. We need to know that everything is going to be okay. And then we talked about the second need that we all have, the need to communicate, the need to connect, the need to love, the need to express love. It is as powerful a need as those safety and everything going to be okay needs. This need to truly help someone succeed, to know that we contribute to their well-being and to a better world. These are very important points for us to look at. So nonviolent communication is about balancing both these needs, making sure that our needs are met while living from a divine place of creating to a better world and speaking peacefully, a life free of guilt, of shame, or intimidation. So using nonviolent communication, we can communicate from a place of compassion and understanding. I wish that on this day, that this woman called me this word. I wish that I had had the tools to turn to her with love, or I don't know what the word would have been. I wish that I could have broken into tears and said, "Why did you say that to me?" To perhaps get her to switch from where she was to seeing how much it hurt. I wish I had had enough, in that instant, enough wherewithal to turn to her and say, "Surely you're not talking about me, are you?" But no, my instinct was, well, talk about yourself. But no, I'm just saying, our default is to go to the way we have always been. But nonviolent communication is a new way of looking at how we address everything in our lives. You know, I am one blessed woman with my puppy dog, Tavia. Many of you know Tavia. You've seen her here in the church once in a while. My Tavia, she's a miniature Labradoodle, but she is an anxious dog. Do you know what I mean? She's a little anxious, and she doesn't like loud noises, and and if I yell at her, she gets this look on her face that instantly brings tears to my eyes. Now, if a dog reacts that way, how do children react? How do your loved ones react? Just simply by our words and by our tone. So using nonviolent communication, we can communicate from a place of compassion. We can communicate from a place of attempting to understand rather than be understood. We can attempt to communicate from a place of resolving issues, not causing more conflict. So Rosenberg says that whenever we're involved in any conflict, there are two important questions that we need to ask ourselves. See, I wasn't thinking this on Thursday when this happened to me. He said, number one, when you're in a conflict with anybody, it is our nature to turn and say, what? What's going on with her? Or what's wrong with you, right? Isn't that what we do? Rosenberg says we need to turn it and we need to ask the question, what's going on in me? What's going on in me in this minute? Well, I will tell you what went on for me in that moment was I started laughing because I really am not a whatever she called me. Now, there are some bad words that people can call me that I'll own up to, but maybe in the 60s, but certainly not now. I'm just saying. So he says, you're going to ask what's going on with me. All right, I'm sorry. Too much. Okay, what's going on with me? That's one question you need to ask yourself. And the question is, what's alive in me? This is all one question, by the way. What's going on with me? what's alive in me, and what has been triggered in me. What's going on with me? Well, I was like confused. That was what was going on with me. And then I realized she really meant it. And this was a very odd thing right in the middle of the store. And then the next thing I asked was, what's alive in me? Anger and confusion. That was what was alive with me. And what had been triggered in me? Do you mind if I don't tell you that? No. It goes back to my childhood and my mother and a lot of things. But what I just want to say, it triggered something in me from years and years and years ago. And it doesn't matter. It take too long to explain it. But I'm just saying, wow. Not in that moment. I wasn't standing there in the middle of the store thinking, what's triggered in me? What's alive in me? No, but as I was completing this talk last night, it became very clear to me that woman had triggered me really quite a bit, but it had more to do with childhood than anything else. The second question that he says we need to ask, what can we do together to make life or this situation more wonderful for one another? Okay, so the first question is what's going on with me, not what's going on with Deborah when Deborah called me a bad name. Deborah, you've never called me a bad name. To my face. I'm saying, seriously, guys, the first question always is what's going on with me. We tend to blame everybody else for the conflicts that are, if only he would, if only she would, if only they, whatever. But instead of that, he says, turn that around, turn it around. What is going on in me? What's alive in me? What's been triggered in me? And then, and only then, move to what can we do together? Please underline that word, together, to make life more acceptable, to make the situation more workable, to make love here. What can we do to change together? What can we do to change the dynamics of this conflict? Only you can answer that question. I was in a conflict last Sunday. It wasn't a conflict, not at all. It was a triggering thing. We had gone to see Blaze and Kelly at Riverside, and there was a woman who was sitting at the table that I sort of did not know and very well, and the whole issue of politics came up, and she was really going off on some stuff, and totally something I don't agree with. And I sat there and I thought, okay, I can try to convince her of her absolute idiotic stupidity. No, I didn't think that. But, and then finally I did ask myself, how can I bring more love to this situation? And so I said to her, I think we're going to agree to disagree on this situation, but I'd love to know what you think about, and then we switched the conversation. Now, before I would have spent an hour beating my head against a wall, trying to convince somebody of something. But how together can we make this love? How together can we make this peaceful? How together can we make this a communication of nonviolence? The great Indian philosopher Krishnamurti said this: the highest form of intelligence is the ability to observe without evaluating. The highest form of intelligence is the ability to observe without evaluating. One of the major causes of disconnect between people is our tendency to observe and make judgments. How can we take his advice and move beyond judgment? Rosenberg tells the story of a mother who was having a conflict with her daughter. And so he asked the mother in a session, he said to her, "What does your daughter do?" And the mother replied, "Well, she's lazy and she's rude and she's inconsiderate." And Rosenberg said, "I ask you what she does, not what she was. I ask you what she does, not what she is." And what did she do? And the mom said, "Well, she's inconsiderate." Rosenberg kept pressing her. This is in his book, Nonviolent Communication, by the way. and we have in the bookstore. Rosenberg pressed her for specific things that the daughter did that the mom felt were inconsiderate. Finally, the mom said she leaves her dirty clothes all over the floor and doesn't hang up her clean clothes in the closet. That's what she does. She's not inconsiderate. This is what she does. So when things aren't working or happening in the manner that we want them to, we begin telling stories. We create a narrative about what that person is because their music is too loud or whatever is going on. We start labeling people as rude or inconsiderate instead of just saying what they actually did. What would it be like if we changed that narrative? Because we keep adding judgment to what happened to something. The fact is that the girl leaves her clothes on the floor. What teenage girl doesn't? Well, that's what she does. But then we add judgment and we say that's inconsiderate. Maybe it is, but that's what we do. Think about the conflict that you might have experienced in your life. Maybe somebody said something that was hurtful to you. Think about that now. When somebody said something that was hurtful to you, did you add judgment to it? Did you add judgment to it? Did you respond by thinking or saying that they were stupid or wrong or inconsiderate? Did you respond by saying you just don't know what you're doing or saying? No, because we add judgment to it. Because the first step to healing a conflict is to be very clear about what really is going on, what really happened, without embellishing it with judgment or our narrative. Now, everybody here knows, if you've been coming to this church for any time, that I'm only talking to myself up here. But I suspect that maybe some other people actually need to hear this too. We have to get clear. Labeling people leaves no room for compassion or understanding or healing when we label them. When we label them. The first step is without judgment. Without judgment. We just have to say what the situation is without embellishment or drama or stories. Rosenberg tells a story about another man who said, I hate it when my roommate plays music late at night. He said, how does that make you feel? The man replied, that he's wrong. Rosenberg said, wrong is actually not a feeling, it's a judgment. How does it make you feel? The man replied, I don't really have any feelings about it. I just want him to stop. Rosenberg said, okay, you don't have any feelings about it, you don't have any judgment about it, but you want him to stop. Take a deep breath, go to your heart, and really think about how you feel when your roommate plays music late at night. And the man said, well, I feel ticked off. Rosenberg said in his book, well, that probably wasn't the best word to use, but it was a good start because the man began to acknowledge his feelings. You see, we as human beings tend to deny our feelings. We don't want to appear hurt or soft or weak, so we stuff our feelings. And I tell you, it takes a lot of work to feel your feelings and to express them. Now, here's an important point. We've been conditioned to believe that other people cause us to feel things. She made me feel bad. She made me. I didn't want to, but she made me, and all of those things. We believe that other people's behavior is what makes us feel angry or hurt. She made me so mad. I mean, how many times have I said that? I got so angry. What other people say or do is only a stimulus that triggers something that's already going on within us. That's all it is. That's all it is. So then, what triggers our feelings is not what other people do or say. It's our own needs. It's what's missing from our life. That's why he says, ask the question. What's alive in me? What was triggered in me by this situation? This is difficult stuff, people. I'm going to tell you, it's difficult. So you go back to the mom who was angry with her daughter. The fact was that she didn't like the fact that her daughter left her clothing laying all over the place. The feeling that she had was anger. What that anger reflected was her need for order and beauty in her house. She wanted to be supported by her daughter in creating what she needed to be happy. What would it be if we told our children that? If we explained that to our wife or our husband or our mate, instead of saying, you're inconsiderate leaving your clothes on the ground. What would it say? When you leave your clothes on the ground, it really disrupts my need for beauty, my need for order, my need for you to support me in what makes me happy in my home. So think about a conflict that you're having. What's the feeling about that situation? And more importantly, what's the need behind that feeling? You're hurt by somebody. What's alive in me? What's triggered in me? What is the need behind that emotion? This is very big if we can do it. This is very important if we can stop. What is the need that I have behind the thing that has just triggered me? Perhaps it's for appreciation or respect. Maybe it's something that'll keep you happy or fulfilled. Maybe it's about a sense of connection. I recognized with that lady in Ross that I was trying to connect with her. I was trying to connect with her and smile and have a pleasantry. And I was rebuked. Is that the word, rebuke? Rebuffed? I don't know. Whatever that word is. And it was my desire for connection and my feelings of not being liked. I mean, what is the emotion behind the feeling that you had? And when I could answer that, it didn't matter what she said to me. It was about me. It was about me. Rosenberg says pinpointing our needs is one of the biggest steps you can take in nonviolent communication and in resolving conflicts. Pinpointing your need, not the other person's need. So when you're tempted to argue with someone over anything, whether it's politics or whatever it is you're arguing with your mate or even a stranger, we ask ourselves, what is my need in this conversation? What is the fear that I have if you don't hear me? Because it really boils down to fear. I'm afraid that, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks. And most important of all, I think in all of this work, whether it's nonviolent communication work or whether it's pinpointing the need that we have behind the judgment or the emotion that we have, I think that the more clearly that we know what our needs are, the more likely we will be to attracting it to us and to creating it in our life. Because we know this is how it works. Once you know what your need is, you communicate that to the universe is always saying yes, and it always brings it back to you. But if all we are doing is communicating to the universe our judgments, our evaluations, then that's all that's going to be coming back to us in its form. If you don't want to do this for peace in the world, then do it for peace in yourself. You don't want to do this work because it's hard. I tell you, it's a lot harder to heal later than it is to do the work now. So the final step in nonviolent communication is to make an actual request of the other person. And this is hard for us to do. Rosenberg says it's hard for us to make a request. With a request, you've got to stay calm, centered, and compassionate. I could have made a request of that woman. What would that request have been? Anybody want to throw something out? I don't know. What would my request of that woman have been? You know, my old self says, don't talk to me that way. No, that's not the answer. What could it have been? Anybody? Yeah. Oh, I'll pray for you. See, now, that feels aggressive and violent to me. Now, and because, again, how you say it, I'll pray for you, would be totally different, and of course, it's what's behind it. Yeah, somebody else had their hand up. No, oh, yes. Are you talking about me or candidate Harris? Yeah, I could have said that, yeah. Well, yeah, but then what if she said it was me? Yeah, no. What else could I have said? Yeah, why did you say that? Yeah? Yell it out because I can't hear you. Yes, 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 yes. For the camera, I'll just say that what you're saying is that you're in the store, so this woman was feeling very intrusive, right? And it felt abusive, didn't it? Yeah, but the reality is, remember, this is about nonviolence. This is about creating, yeah, what is she saying? Yes, of course, yes. That you were being violent to me, yes, yes, I hear you. So I don't know that I have the answer, yes. That really hurt. Why did you feel the need to attract me? I'm sorry I upset you? Maybe, okay, maybe I could have said, wow, I'm sorry that you have made a judgment about a complete stranger. I don't know. See, I don't know the answer, but he's trying to help us because in all of it, what is alive in me? What was triggered in me? How can together we create a world that works for both of us? This woman, well, there was not going to be anything. I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer there, but I love all of your answers. Now, when I couldn't, but he says I need to, yes, all right. Boy, we got a lot of people telling me, yeah, stand up and yell it out because I can't hear you. Well, I didn't follow around for long because I thought I was going to get arrested, but yeah. Yes, yes, and I really did want to do that. I truly did want to go up to her and say, gosh, could we talk about what this that just happened? But then, I don't know, yeah. Say again, please, I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty hearing. Oh, yeah. Do you think that all people who wear purple shoes are S? But remember, I'm trying to use this formula. What's triggered in me? What's alive in me? And how together can we? I could have said a lot of things to that woman. I had them all going on in my brain, you know, and you think about it, and it's ruminated in my brain for a couple of days now. Like, I thought about some great comebacks to her, but it's not creating peace. It was, everything I could have said would have created more conflict. Yes? Just laugh hysterically. Well, I sort of ended up doing that. All right, we got to move on because people on the camera don't really, yes. Really, I don't understand. Well, okay, yes, Judy. Ow! Yes, Allison, birthday girl. Excuse me. Yeah, it certainly triggered something in her. I don't know if it was the purple shoes, Kamala Harris, or about me. Yeah, Shane. Say what? What did he say? Where? Where? Okay, and in NLP, neuro-linguistic, whatever it's called, in NLP, what they teach is that you say, I'm sorry, what did you say? Because if you can make them repeat it, then they hear what they're saying. But, okay, so I like it when my human events trigger something, but it really was one of those moments where I don't know what to say to you, woman. Anyway, hopefully this will spark a conversation that can leave people happy and fulfilled. You know, the ultimate goal in life as we are moving into it is to move away from fear. The fear that our side's going to lose. The fear that if the other side wins, then some catastrophe is going to happen. The fear that we're not going to have enough. Whatever the fear is, Rosenberg is saying that for most everything that happens in this world involving conflict, it is based on a fear of some type. What is alive in me? What has triggered in me? What is the need behind the fear that I am feeling right now? You know, my need to be liked, my need to be respected, my need for all those ego-gratifying things really came to the surface to me with that woman. I'm telling you. Wouldn't it be wonderful if she was listening to this talk? Call me up. Call me up. But when we're speaking about this fear, I want to end this with from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. He said this: fear is the greatest enemy of humanity. It is impossible for us to do our best if we are filled with anxiety. Unless we live without fear today, we will dread tomorrow. Those who live in the dread of tomorrow generally harbor memories of things that were unpleasant in their previous experience and expect more of this unpleasantness and expect that more of this unpleasantness will transpire in the future. How many of us do that? The present day in which they live is robbed of all peace and joy. Yesterday is forever past. We cannot relive it. No matter how we may regret what happened yesterday, it is impossible actually to live it over again. But too often in imagination, we do live it over again and again, and in so doing, bring all the misery of yesterday into today. Learn to forget yesterday. After we have gone over it and learned by our mistakes, the thing to do is to correct those mistakes and forgive ourselves for anything we have done. I read that because I want to say that we are all unlearning a lot of things that were concreted in our life's experience, through our families, through our friends, through our philosophy, our faith. We are having to unlearn so much as people who live in the Western world, they versus us versus them, me versus you. The person who wins the most is the winner, or the person who has the most is the winner. We are having to unlearn all of those things. The way that we spoke to people, not even meaning to be violent, we're having to unlearn that. So we begin to do that by forgiving ourselves, by saying, this is how it was, but I can make a different choice now. I can learn to speak a new way now. I can speak in a loving, non-violent way now. I don't have to raise my voice to get your attention. I don't have to act out to get your love. I can unlearn and let yesterday go. Peace and blessings to all of you on this non-violent journey, my beloved ones. Come on up here. Let's just take a moment and turn to each other and say one peaceful thing to somebody in this room. Come on, say something peaceful. Thank you for being with us, those of you who are online. We invite you down to the Center for Spiritual Living. You know, there's so much going on in this church, and we just invite you to come to community and be with us on Sunday. If you're anywhere within the Treasure Valley, come on in and get to know us. Let's just take a moment now. Let's just take a moment. And I'd like you to just stand up, please. Stand up and get in groups of 3 very quickly. Let's do this very quickly. Let's just do this very quickly. And if there's 4, that's okay. Here you go. We need a 3rd up here. Jane? Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Go over there, because that'll go to the 4. That's fine. Okay, now let's just face each other, and if you're comfortable holding hands or linking arms, and you don't have to, let's just sit and move into the silence. And I want us right now for our prayer today, and those of you who are at home, please join us in this. I want each one of you to go around the circle and declare a word, a sentence, of how to get peace, how to have peace in a world of conflict. What are you going to do to bring peace in a world of conflict? What will I do to bring peace in a world of conflict? And of course, introduce yourself to each other too. If you don't know your names, say your names, please.
What did your instincts tell you that it was you or
Comment. No, but they're making. Seated, so I know everybody's had a chance. Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you know who each other is. Make sure you know each other's names. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because I know that once spoken into the universe, it will happen. Yes, yes, yes. And so it is. Amen, amen. We are holding so many people in prayer in this church. Our beloved Harold Whitman, whose sister Dee made her transition. So many other things are going on. I just want to remind you that there is a prayer request card in the front, in the pockets in the seats. Please fill out a prayer request card, and our practitioners will receive it by today. They'll start praying. They'll start praying for you and holding you in it. All of your prayers are held with such preciousness. We're holding our beloved Diana Anderson in our prayers as well. Her son Jeff has had several seizures, and a mother's heart is so hurt when she sees even her grown children hurting. So there's so much going on in our world. Today we're just holding peace, peace, peace. And thank you for holding the consciousness of that. This morning we have been so blessed, haven't we been, by the best music in Boise, Idaho. Our CSL House Band, yes, with Becky B, yes, yes, yes. And our pulpit assistant this morning is Mary Borg, and it's Deborah Whitman, and it's anybody else. I mean, we're just bringing in all kinds of things happening here. On the soundboard this morning, Rob Compton, Donna Sheedy's the videographer, Jane Torres and Mary Borg and Harold Whitman were our ushers and greeters. Hospitality brought to us by Mary Borg, Reverend Jackie and Margie, and with Ken Potter setting it up. Thank you so much. Mary Borg did our cleaning, and boy, did she do a magnificent job cleaning the church for you. Mariah didn't have any children today, but she was ready to be with your kids. Our E-Blast volunteer this week was Shane Kipper. I just want to do a very special note of gratitude this week to the individuals who, with just a few hours' notice, with a phone call from Mary or text from Mary Borg, came in and pulled weeds all around the church. They spent time beautifying your church. That was Christopher Lamott, Shane Kipper, Mary Borg, and Ella Van Dyker. Ella Van Dyke. We're here in the heat pulling those weeds Saturday morning. We are so grateful to you. I can't tell you how grateful I am, because we were starting to look like we were a little bit deserted. We still need some help. Saturday morning, beginning at 8 o'clock, we need people, if you have a weed eater, to bring your weed eater and come and help us get the weeds around the perimeter. For those of you who may not know this, but you own this building. This congregation owns this building and the property, the two parking lots to the side and the parking lot behind us, and all of the adjacent land that is associated with that. The only thing we don't own is a parking lot in front, because that's owned by those two buildings. So we have to keep the building up. We have to keep it up because you own it. You all have homes. You know that if you don't weed, that you're going to be overtaken with weeds. So because we are a volunteer church, we are so grateful if anyone can come and help. Just put your name on the volunteer sheet in the back and say, I'll be here Saturday or whatever, and I will personally call you and meet you here this Saturday. For those of you who were here Saturday helping us, once again, can we just say thank you to them? Thank you, 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 thank you so very much. So speaking of cookies, because, you know, we're always thinking of cookies and inviting you to come to hospitality after service and talk about peace in a world of conflict, there is a cookie sign-up sheet in the back, and if you want to make some cookies or brownies, and for those of you who don't cook, you can go to the store and buy some good yummy stuff, and bring it. But if you could sign up, we need 2 people on Sunday to do that, and it would be very wonderful. Also, youth churches will be having their training on September the 7th, 9 to something. We'll get it out in the e-blast this week and let you know. If you're interested at all in working with our youth, it doesn't have to be right now, but even sometime in the future, we're asking you to come. We'll supply lunch, and we're going to train you, and it's going to be wonderful. We have some wonderful curriculum. We're also looking for some people to shore up our usher greeter committee, because we're changing that to call it the welcoming committee, and we're really going to be introducing a lot of new things coming up. Also, I'm almost done. Also, if you have any expertise in computers or videography, we are looking to add to a core of people who do the videography every week, because one of our videographers is going to be living out of state for part of the time, and we need to get somebody else in there, and we need to train you. So if you have any interest in once every 4 or 5 weeks in helping to do the videography for our own live program, we have a wonderful program, don't we, Shane? I mean, it's easy. It's not hard, is it? But, I mean, we are asking people with computer skills. We don't want to teach you how to click a mouse or whatever. But please see me, Donna Sheedy, who's back there, see me, or see Shane Kipper. Shane, would you raise your hand? And really, we're only asking you to do it once every 5 or so weeks, but we really are trying to shore that up. And my final request is this. I was in the store the other day, and I was watching a mother with 4 children, and they were buying school supplies, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart to hear the mother say, no, you can't have that because we don't have enough money and all that. And every year we adopt a school to bring school supplies in to help our children and their families. So beginning next Sunday, we're going to be, in addition to the dog food and the cat food that you're bringing in to help our cats and dogs, we're going to ask you to go to Walmart, go to Fred Meyer's. I don't normally say go to Walmart, but in this case I am saying it. Go to Fred Meyer's and look at what the lists are that the kids need. And would you please help us with supplies to send kids back to school so that they have everything that they need. I will tell you this from my heart. When I was growing up, I was one of 5 children on a sergeant's salary. We rarely had money, and when school time came around, really it was horrible for my family to come up with the money to buy the extra school supplies and so forth. Won't you help? Won't you bring school supplies to help these children and their families so that these kids can go to school and be on equal footing with all the other children in their classroom? Thank you, and if you need help knowing what to bring, just call the church, and also we will have it in the e-blast this week as well. So thank you so very much. I hope I've said everything. If I haven't, we don't need to say any more. This is our conscious giving time, the time when we give back to Spirit that which Spirit has so generously and magnificently given to us. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for helping us to pay for some unexpected things that have come up. And while you are preparing your gift and your offering, I would like to invite any first or second time visitors to the church to please just put your hand up. We'd like to give you a little gift. Are there any first or second time visitors to the church? Yes, because you got to get one. He only got one last week. We're giving out a visitor cup. We don't like to call you visitors because you're new friends. We're giving out a cup, and in this cup, it's got some affirmations. It's got information about religious science. It's got a Science of Mind magazine. It's got a lot of wonderful things in it. So trying to help you get to know. And, you know, guys, you can have one if you want one. Just talk to Mary. She'll give it to you. So This is our conscious giving time. Let's just take our gift, our offering in our hands, and know with me that all is well. Fill out the connection card to let people know, to let us know, to get you on the e-blast, and also to get you on our mailing list. If you are at home, you can go to cslboise.org, cslboise.org, and you can sign up for so many things. You can sign up for the e-blast. You can let us know who you are. You can send a confidential prayer request to prayers@cslboise.org, prayers@cslboise.org. Also on that website, you can hear all about our musicians. Got something happening? Let's hear it. We like y'all to support our musicians, so we like to give them a little bit of time.
This afternoon at 6 p.m. at the Sandbar. The band I'm in called The Notables. We're playing from 6 to 9. We'd love to see you out there. And if I might take just a little bit of time here, our beloved Lisa Biddick-Lowe is returning from New Orleans tomorrow night.
Woohoo! Lisa!
Wednesday night, she and Amy Trail, the Key Queens, will be at the Sandbar from 6 to 9, and I encourage you all to come out there and welcome her back and give the ladies some love too.
So Wednesday night at the Sandbar, Lisa. Tonight at the Sandbar, you. What about you, Mr. Phillip?
Most of our stuff is out of town for the next few weeks. So
Oh,
we're up in
good.
Pine this next weekend, and then we have something else up in Idaho City after that.
Wonderful. Well, good. How about you, Becky? Come on up to the microphone. And Rex, you got anything while she's coming? Well, the first of every month, we'll get to that in September.
This Thursday from 7 to 9, I'm with David Moss and Don Cunningham at Lock, Stock, and Barrel. And then Friday, I'm in Clyder Park with the Billy Blues Band.
Ooh, fun. Well, you might as well stay because we're getting ready to listen to you, girl. So let's just take our gift, our offering in our hands, as together we know that there is divine and perfect right action that is taking place in all of our affairs of money and abundance and joy and love. Let's just hold our gift, and if you want to, you can hold your heart. If you give digitally, there's so many ways to give. You can hold your heart like that, and just know with me, as together we say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Because we got no time for hate. Amen, amen, amen. Right. Becky B, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay. 8 years old with a flour sack cape tied all around his neck. He climbed up on the garage, was figuring what the heck. Well, he screwed his courage up so tight that the whole thing come unwound. He took a running start, and bless his heart, he's headed for the ground. Well, he's one of those who knows that life is just a leap of faith. So spread your arms and hold your breath and always trust your cape. Now he's all grown up with a flour sack cape tied all around his dreams. He's full of spit and vinegar and he's busting at the seams. Well, he licked his finger and he checked the wind. It's gonna be do or die. And he wasn't scared of nothing, boys. He's really sure he can fly. 'Cause he's one of those who knows that life is just a leap of faith. So spread your arms and hold your breath and always trust your cape.
great week and trust your cape.
Please stand for your blessing. May we all remember that we are holy, divine beings, Spirit experiencing through us on Mother Earth. And when those times of distress come into our life, love is our true purpose. Peace and blessings.